You ever feel confused by investments? Have you ever wondered why one particular investment behaves so differently than another investment? Well, there certainly are many different kinds of investments to choose from, and each of these choices opens up many subdivisions and categories. It can get confusing and maybe even overwhelming in a hurry. For example, if we take a look at stocks, there are thousands to choose from. There are stocks of large companies, small companies, and all sizes in between. There are stocks of United States companies and stocks of companies headquartered outside the United States. Which stock or stocks are right for you? If we look at bonds, again, there are thousands to choose from, and there are several different types available. There are U.S. government bonds, corporate bonds, bonds issued by state and city governments. There are bonds issued by foreign governments and foreign corporations. The list goes on and on. Which of these types of investments should be in your portfolio? All these choices can be overwhelming. Let's see if we can break it down to make investing a little less confusing. If you look at all the investment possibilities out there and put them all in a great big pot and boil them down to their most basic essence, what you would find is that there's really only two broad categories of investments. There are investments that tend to grow in value over time, and there are investments which tend to produce an income and really don't grow very much over time. In other words, there are growth-oriented investments and there are income-oriented investments. Now, two broad categories seems a little more manageable than thousands of choices, wouldn't you agree? So let's take a look at how growth investments and income investments perform over time. If we look at the performance of growth investments on a graph over a long period of time, what we find is that growth investments tend to perform with significant growth over time. As you can see, the performance graph looks almost like a 45-degree angle, headed up like a jet taking off. Now, if we look at the performance of income-oriented investments, we see the performance is much less exciting and over time really doesn't do too much to help our money grow. Now, if that's all you had to know about investing, maybe everybody would make lots of money and investment professionals like me would be out of a job. So there's probably a catch. There usually is a catch, wouldn't you agree? Well, the catch here is that we're looking at nearly 9 decades of history. Compressing that much information to such a small space can hide some detail. So let's take a closer look. On the growth graph, if we look closely, we'll see that there are a lot of ups and downs with growth investments. The stock market goes up and down, real estate prices go up and down, gold prices go up and down, and so it goes. Anything that can grow in value can fluctuate in price over time. This up and down price movement is called volatility. Some people compare the ups and downs to a roller coaster ride. Now, you've probably been on a roller coaster sometime in your life, haven't you? Most people would agree that when the roller coaster is going up, it is pretty exciting. It's when the roller coaster is headed down, the stomach starts moving closer to the throat, and at the steepest part of that downward slide, some people will begin to make vague promises that, if you'll get me off this thing, I promise I won't do this again. Now, some people think this roller coaster analogy fits very well for how they experience the performance of their investments. One important thing to know about growth investments is that they do tend to grow in value over time, but they will experience many ups and downs along the way. Now, if we take a look at the income side of things, we find that income-oriented investments don't tend to cause near the tummy trouble that growth investments do. Now, when I say income-oriented investments, what I'm talking about would include certificates of deposit, treasury bills, treasury bonds, corporate bonds, and so on. Now, sure, income investments do move up and down from time to time, but the amount of up and down movement is usually not enough to cause too much emotional upset. However, income investments don't produce much gain over time. Most people eventually find that they can't afford to keep all of their investments in income-oriented investments, and most people wouldn't sleep well at night if they had all of their money allocated to growth investments. What happens for most people is they end up with a mix of investments. They find the right balance of growth versus income investments to help them achieve their long-term financial goals and still allow them to sleep well at night. Finding this right balance, this right ratio, if you will, is a process called asset allocation. Getting the right asset allocation, the right balance for you, is critical to your long-term success. To help you find the right balance for you, it's important to understand the growth roller coaster and what the characteristic up and down behavior really means over time. If we look at growth investments over time and look at any given year over the past nearly 9 decades, the range of possibility on whether we made money or lost money, well, the range of possibility is enormous. In any given year, almost anything could happen, and most anything you can think of has happened over time. However, if we choose any given year and then look at the next rolling 5 years, we find the roller coaster has been flattened out quite a bit. And now we have a strong statistical bias on the upside. We're making money far more often than not in any rolling 5-year time period over the last nearly 9 decades. The roller coaster almost completely flattens out when we look at 10-year rolling time periods, and by the time we look at 20-year rolling time periods, the predictability of positive investment performance becomes very, very high. From a statistical, historical point of view, investment returns become much more predictable over longer periods of time. The key message here is the importance of time and how it affects the long-term performance of investments, but especially growth investments. Most of us need to have some growth investments in order to reach our long-term goals and stay ahead of inflation. We just need to allow enough time for the growth investments to actually perform for us. The up and down roller coaster is just a natural part of the process, and really not something to get too concerned with if we keep the time factor in mind. Also keep in mind that what I've shown you here is past history over a long period of time. In the investment world, we always have to remind people that past performance is no guarantee of future results. That said, I've found in my investment career that studying how things have worked in the past can be very helpful in shaping how to think about the future. Hopefully you're now armed with a little more investment knowledge than you had before and are better positioned to make more intelligent choices about your own investments. Join us again soon. We'll have more for you in another installment of the Financial Briefing.